Little Feat is going to be headlining at the Avila Beach Blues Festival this year. Tickets still available. You can link up at kzoz.com. Thanks to Auto Productions. And we got Bill Payne, founding member, on the phone.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
We're doing good, man.
Is that how you play piano, with your mouth?
No, I play it with my fingers, and I will demonstrate justly.
Look at
That's
that.
how I play the piano.
So we were just talking about a guitar player from. Have you ever heard of the band called the Young Dubliners?
Yeah, I have. I thought it was a movie too, wasn't it? Or...
It's an Irish rock outfit, and some of the band members live up here, and they're doing a show at one of the bars, and one of the guitar players is a local guy who signed on with the band a lot later on. And he's always walking around with his guitar. So it's like a security blanket. But then I was thinking about you. How you can't always walk around like when you get ideas with a piano, but I guess you can a keyboard. But do you have like a mini keyboard that you bust out, or is it something that you have in the trunk of the car, or what?
All right, here's I'm going to share a secret with you guys. That's actually not a secret, but when I was taking lessons as a young lad, my teacher, Ruth Newman, said, you're not always going to have a piano, but you will have a desk, you'll have the air in front of you, your knees, whatever you need to be able to play, you can play on that desk, knees, etc. So that's what I do. And so if I'm in the key of F or A flat or F sharp or whatever I'm doing, I can hit those notes and I can also hear them. So I've got that extra added extension to being able to do what you guys are talking about.
Okay, so you always got a desk, and that's your portable practice arrangement.
Yeah, your knees or just midair. So it's a good thing. It was a really cool tip for her to tell me, and I've given the same tip to other keyboard players myself, just so they have something they can rely on. Because, like you said, hanging a keyboard around your neck is something like pushing a rock uphill, I think.
But do people think you're casting spells on them if you're sitting there and you're doing it in the air? And I mean, you got these fingers motions and what you're practicing. I mean, people call.
I think it's a good way.
The white coats on you.
It's a good way to keep. Privacy is a luxury for the talented, they say. So if you want to keep people away from you, be a little eccentric, and you'll get your wish.
Yeah, exactly.
Bill Payne joins us. Little Feat. It's their 50. What does it sound like to you when people keep saying it's your 50th reunion tour? I mean, what does that number sound like?
I guess I feel a little like Gabby Hayes with Roy Rogers. No, it's okay. I mean, look, I'm 70 years old. I play piano like I was 25 or 30. I'm still having a great time being able to do it. My wife is 26 years younger than I am.
Good for you.
And, there you go. So Groucho Marx said you're only as old as the woman you feel. So I'm 44, and when I was 60, she was 34, and that's when I met her.
So when you started the band 50 years ago, did you have any idea that it was going to be as successful as it was, and you would still be, playing music into your 70s?
No, one can only hope, but I wasn't sure what would happen. Just like the rest of us, we do what we can do. But one person many years ago, they said, "Well, do you think your music will still be popular?" And I said, "Well, that's another thing I don't know." But Beethoven's not doing too bad.
Yeah, that's true.
So you just gotta let things and trends and everything else play themselves out. But I think good music speaks for itself, which is why Little Feat, Allman Brothers, Grateful Dead, etc., have had now going on a 50-year span of fans, not maybe a ton of new fans, but enough to where people know who we are. I mean, Fish playing. I guess I was out. I'm getting my tours mixed up with the Doobie Brothers and with Little Feat because I'm bouncing back and forth this year. But on one of those tours, somebody said, "Oh, Fish is down in Mexico playing Spanish Moon." I thought, man, that's cool. And a few years before, they at one of their Halloween concerts, they played "Waiting for Columbus." So, the tributes that go out to this band are humbling, to say the least. And but it's gratifying given the fact that when we first started this experiment in terror in 1969, that was one of the things Lowell and I talked about, was not being a household word amongst everybody, but we were hoping amongst the musical community and those that were savvy enough and eclectic enough to like what we were doing, that they would put our music in a good place in their heart, and etc.
Well, it must be great, because I mean, super respected by your peers. I know. I was reading the other day that Elton John considers you one of the best. I don't know if it's backhanded with Elton John, though. He says you're one of the best American piano players. But I mean, that's a good accolade to have rained upon you, right? I mean, here you got arguably one of the biggest rock stars of all time. Saying that Bill Payne's probably a little bit better piano player than I am.
Well, yeah, it was nice. It was a very nice compliment. I've read a couple different versions of it, but yeah, they say the same thing, that I'm good at what I do, and I think my track record speaks one of two ways. If you've played with James Taylor, Bob Seger, Emmylou Harris, Bonnie Raitt, on and on, you're either really good or you can't hold a job, or maybe a little bit of both.
I remember when Like a Rock was on commercials all the time. Did you ever go to somebody going, "Hey, yeah, that's me, by the way, I'm playing that"?
I probably did. Or Bryan Adams, "Everything I do for you."
Oh yeah.
But I was in an elevator with Charlie Rose, and he was explaining as we were going down the elevator, not to me, but this family that came on, that he had 2 television shows at the time before he got, aced out because of the Me Too movement and
right.
his derelict activities. But I thought, well, gosh, this guy's kind of bragging on himself, and I said, I think a lot of creative people do. It's just, we're proud of what we do, and we want some people to know it. So it's nice.
Bill Payne on the phone with us from Little Feat. They'll be here for the Avila Beach Blues Festival on their 50th anniversary tour. I know you've played with a lot of big names. Doobie Brothers, What a Fool Believes, you were on that track. Seeger's Against the Wind, Hollywood Nights, Like a Rock. Plus, you've played with a bunch of other musicians as well. But I know that you lost your partner, your friend. What did that mean for you at that point in your career with the band and kind of moving forward?
Well, we lost Lowell George in '79, and I, like everybody else, we took about a 6 to 8 year hiatus, and I went out working with other people. I needed the break, to be honest with you. I was pretty well, I had it with Little Feat at that point anyway, before he passed away, and right before he passed away. So it gave me a chance to kind of hunker down and play good music with James Taylor, Stevie Nicks, and some other folks. But I love playing with James Taylor, and I actually was asked to be in a movie, the Blues Brothers movie, with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi, and I was unable to do it because of scheduling. But I went to the wrap party and played that. And Belushi, after the gig, came up to me and says, Bill, one of these days I'd love to do the Lowell George story. I said, God, you would be perfect for it. And he did it, but he did it off screen. Yeah. He died pretty much the same way Lowell did, which was a real shame.
Yeah, that gives me chills to know that John Belushi had told you that.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, it was amazing. It was
wow.
Well, we're excited for you to come out here to Avila. This event is a staple around here. Obviously, where we live, there's so much going on all the time. We're in California on the coast, and it's wine country, and there's so many great events. But this blues festival is held with the highest regards of one of the top things to do around here. Every year, people come from all over, and everybody's really excited that you guys are going to be a part of it this year.
Well, I am too, in particular, because I grew up. I joined my first band in Santa Maria, just down the road from you guys. And so we used to play at the Rose Gardens in Pismo Beach. And, I surfed, such as the surf was, at Avila Beach. And last time I was up there, which was a couple of years ago, Doobie Brothers were up in Paso Robles, I guess. And I drove down to Avila and then went to have dinner in Pismo. But I didn't recognize the town. It had changed so much. And it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous part of California, obviously, and so I'm looking forward to getting up there for a whole lot of reasons. It was my old stomping grounds when I was in high school.
What was the name of your first band in Santa Maria? Did you guys have a name, or was it just like a jam band?
No, it was before jamming. It was 1960. Let's see, 64, I guess, maybe 65, but 64. Let's call it. I was 15, and it was called the Debonaires.
The Debonaires.
And but even at that time, I was sitting in with other groups that found out that I could play keyboard. So I've always had this penchant for playing with other bands, even when I was with a locally with somebody.
You're the keyboard assassin, the hired keyboard assassin.
That's it. Yeah. Hey, quick throw. What's up?
What's Bill Payne doing? All right, well, cool. Thanks for joining us this morning, and we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks, man.
A pleasure, and thanks for inviting me on your show. I think it's cool. How's the weather up there today?
Today it's cloudy.
Yeah, it's going to be. Yeah, it'll be fine by Memorial Day weekend, but it's cloudy, rain, chance of thunderstorms today. So it's a good thing you're not playing today. But that's rare around here, today, as you know, in California.
Yeah,
all right, man.
I live in Montana, so it's we have a nice day, but it's a little on the cool side.
Very
all right,
cool.
Cats. Well, thanks. We'll see you soon. Okay,
all right.
Take care.
You bet, man. Little Feat 50th anniversary tour, Avila Beach. You can get your tickets. Link up KZOZ.com.
Subscribe to the Jeff and Jeremy podcast now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, and YouTube. It's your Central Coast commute-friendly podcast.